Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, and I'm going over an update of my favorite deck of all time. You guys all know this. These are my babies. It's the best deck in the world, in my opinion. I've slowly but surely been so tempted to pick this deck back up and run it as my main deck. You guys know that I'm tweaking around with that Draco deck, the Draco King Invoked Spellbook engine-based deck. I've been liking it a lot. It's been performing quite well. I've been undefeated for the past 2.5 weeks, ever since I came back from Dallas, and it's just been performing very well. If you guys are wondering the reason why I put this deck down for a little while, Draco's was the reason. It was just the traps. It was just the Apocalypse and the Return. Every time they tribute it, I can't negate it. But I actually made a different variation. I think it was variation number 44, where I was focusing on spamming Abyss Roller. So I ran like 3 instant fusions, and then the level 4 target, which is Darkfire, just to make Herald and Dweller so that they can't stop my Herald. So there are ways to play around it and to mitigate for that. But nonetheless, the deck is just so strong. It's arguably the best deck in the world, in my opinion. And it just does what it does so well. It's so consistent. It's the original +9. It's like, it makes boards that you virtually cannot break. Herald and Barrier Statue alone, you can't do anything. You can't special summon, you can't activate effects. It's really strong. Let's hop right into this main deck without further ado. So for my monster lineup, I'll explain everything once I finish setting the cards down. So we're starting off with 3 of the king of my deck. This man is the big dick daddy. Everybody answers to him. And then 3 of the Princess Katana. Hiya! Putting in work all day, every day. You must maximize on the copies of this card. 3 of my Handy Manny. These are the Juice, not sounding racist. 2 copies of Sandy. Sandy is not as versatile or important. And then moving forward to my favorite combo of the deck, we play 3 copies of Staff. In addition to that, let's organize this a bit. We also play 3 copies of the Throne, which is Herald of Perfection's chair. And we also play 2 copies of Honest and 1 of the arguably the best normal summon of the deck. Now to explain my monster lineup. As you notice, I am now playing 2 Honest instead of 3. Now the main reason is because I actually was drawing into multiples of this card quite often. Or I would open up with 1 and then next turn draw another one. It's a great card, and being at 3, it was so tempting to play it at 3 because I actually do play Barrier Statue. But ultimately, the card is extremely searchable. The deck has so many ways to draw and get this card back as well off of Ritual Sanctuary. It's just not as necessary as I thought it would be, especially in extreme playtesting and hypothetical theories. The card was like something that the deck doesn't need, but it's nice to have. So ultimately, I cut it down to 2 because, like I said, it's actually not needed whatsoever. It's just really, really nice to have. Even when Honest is at 1, it was still relevant to have the 1 Honest because you could search it. So the Barrier Statue makes a lot of sense because it's the idea of it really is not to stop my opponent from special summoning, but it's to stop my opponent from kaijuing my Herald going second. If you make a first turn Herald and your opponent's like, I have Gamma Seal, I'm gonna win. Then you play that Ties and they see this guy and it's like, well, I guess I'm just going to get all my cards negated. So these 3 monsters complement each other because Herald, the Barrier Statue, is always going to stay on the field because of Honest. Your opponent can only normal summon and attack over him because Herald will negate any effects that would hurt him. So it's very, very powerful and perfect field. The Staff and Throne is just the best combo of the deck. This is what helps you to play going second. If you're forced to go second and you make your Herald and then perform this combo, you should be able to break your opponent's board. It also puts you so far ahead of the game because as your opponent's losing resources, you're plussing ahead of him, which is really strong. So this is like the definition of winning in my opinion. So I love this combo. I would never change it. The Jews make sense. Originally in the past, I've tweaked around with the numbers of the Manjus that I play. And then lately I've been just doing 3 Manjus, and then I was like, you know what? I'm still not opening up with enough ways to get into my Herald combo pieces. So I decided Senjus make a lot of sense. It's a great card, and maybe I'm trying to open up a Benton because I always have Dawn and Herald some way or shape or form, but it's really like I needed more ways to search Benton. So I wanted to have this as an additional way to search her. If you open up with any of these 5 cards in like a pre-prep, you've basically got the Herald right there. So this makes a lot of sense to play 2 of and not 3 because you still don't want to open up with too many of either of these cards. Now, I play Manju at 3 instead of, you know how I'm playing 2 Senjus because Manju is actually a lot more versatile. Handy Manny can search for any of the 3 combo pieces you need. The Dawn, the Benton, or actually the Herald himself. Princess Katana, by the way. Hiya! So he just makes a lot of sense to me. He has dual utility and synergy, being a level 4 light fairy, which is a ties target, an honestable monster, and you can also make your rank 4s with him. So he makes a lot of sense. Now, this is a card that I notice a lot of people really play around with the number on her. This is the most important card for all of your combo pieces to synergize. You have to have this or you really can't summon Herald, because the level has to be exactly 6. So every time you summon Herald, you can only use this monster in the pure variant. So for that reason, she's that much more important to play 3 of. Even though you have like a million ways to search her, you literally don't have a million, but you have a lot of ways to search her. You still need to play 3 of this card, because opening up with her is insane. If you draw into her, you do not have to waste your search on her now. You can get to the Herald stuff. So I don't see why people play 2 of her. That's stupid. It just doesn't make sense. She's a great card, and I've had a lot of experience playing this deck. Just hear me out and listen to me. Play 3 of her. You will never, ever regret it. She's so good. She is the reason why Herald even is able to come out, like I said. Without her, the deck really is nothing, because she also enables you to go stick chair a lot more consistent. She gets you to your honest. Sometimes you'll summon Herald just by opening up with this Dawn and Herald, or this in pre-prep, or this a prep and a Dawn. And then you'll make Herald and then search this from your deck to your hand because of her normally, and you have Herald Barrier statue right there. So it's really, really powerful for a lot of reasons. And you play 3 of this guy. Do I have to explain him? He's the best monster in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! You have to play him. There is a build that I used to play in the past with Saphira. I no longer do that just because at the offset chance that I draw either Saphira or him in my opening hand, it can brick for me. Even though Herald Saphira is such a powerful board, I chose to go for the pure variant because the pure variant is the most consistent, and you arguably never have a bad hand, which I like a lot. Moving forward to the spells, we play 3 copies of my favorite spell in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then 2 copies of my second favorite spell. My favorite spells are the preps, because my favorite mechanic is rituals. So you play your 5 preps. Then you also play 3 of your Tides of the Brethren. You play 3 Pot of Desires, OG, not reprints. You play 3 copies of Las Vegas. So this is Juice and Berries. This is Juice. This is actually Reinforcements. This is actually The Sauce. And this is Las Vegas. And this is what I call Optimus Prime, because you transform. Let's get it. And then we also play 3 copies of Dawn of Herald, obligatory. And then we play 1 Upstart Goblin. Now to explain the spells. This was actually modified from being the 3rd Honest into an Upstart, because I like to have an additional extender. I find myself having 3 spells engraved, and it's like you can't really resolve Ritual Sanctuary. It's always nice to have that spell that you can play for free, net a free card, and at the same time load your grave with 4 spells. So Upstart was so powerful in the past. I was mad at myself for not playing it. The tech that I actually need to incorporate is Soul Charge. I'm lending currently all of my Soul Charge to different decks. So what I actually need to do is take a Soul Charge out of one of my decks and put it in here, because Soul Charge was so broken when I was playing it, because I would always Soul Charge multiple times every single duel because of this card and the draw power that you have in the deck. So you'll put Soul Charge back and keep drawing it. So this actually should be the Soul Charge, but keep in mind, like I said, I'm lending all of my Soul Charges to other decks. So what I need to do today is take Soul Charge out of one of my decks and put it in here, because it makes a lot of sense. So for now, we're playing the Upstart because it is a great extender. You play the 3 Dons because you have to at least draw into this card ever so often. And you also play Desires, so you need 3 of this in case 1 or 2 gets banished, so you still have access to your Herald. It's a rare occasion when you ever banish 3 of the same card, but it is possible. But nonetheless, Desires is a card that is worthy of being played in this deck because +1s are important. You play the 2 Optimus Prime. I've always and forever kept this card at 2. Even though it's a great combo piece, seeing this is the equivalent of seeing a Benton or, you know, a Herald or a Don. But nonetheless, I don't like to open up with this and this. It's just so nerve-wracking. It really is. It makes my ball sack hurt. It makes me mad. I just don't like it. I don't. It's like 2 of the same card, and this is a combo-oriented deck where you need to draw certain cards and none of the same. So you really don't like playing 6 Las Vegas. So you just play 2 Terraforming. It's perfect. It serves utility as searching for this and loading your grave with spells. So that is out of the way. We play 3 Desires, even though some people are like, why are you playing 3? It's bricky. You need to play 3 in this deck because you need to open up with this card every single opening hand. You have to. That's why you're playing 3. You have the best field spell in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which will allow you to discard the Dead Desires and serve its purpose, which will transform this spell into basically a fairy for Herald. And you can always like recycle up to 6 spells in your graveyard to summon Herald from the graveyard if he dies off a strike. And then you're loading your grave at that point to be able, you're loading your deck to be able to Desires again. So you can actually resolve Desires twice without decking out or banishing too many cards, which is really nice. So It's just way too good to not play. I really can't let go of the 3. I don't care what anybody says. I'm gonna play 3. It's won me too many games to not play. And then we play the 3 Tides of the Brethren. This is the most best. It's the most powerful spell opening up with if you don't have Herald. Because if you don't have Herald, the next best thing is actually to go Barrier Statue and extend your plays by searching out your Sovereignty and your Scepter. So this not only acts as the Barrier Statue package, but it also allows you to extend your plays to search into your Star Seraph. If you open up with this in any level 4 Light Fairy, you get to search for your Sovereignty by summoning Scepter. And at that point, you can make a Deltaros and still pop and still draw. So this is like a pseudo stick chair combo that locks your opponent out from special summoning. It's a great extender, and it also helps you to buy time. If you have lost your Herald and you're trying to recover, you just summon a Barrier Statue and halt your opponent's plays. The preps are the preps. You absolutely have to play them. That sums up the main deck. It is 40 cards. The only card I'm going to actually incorporate into my main deck is Soul Charge. Because Soul Charging back your stick and chair and your Herald and just making free rank 4s, it makes a lot of sense. For the extra deck, we have a full-fledged Utopia package. This and this. Before we were in link format, I was able to summon this and this in the same turn and attack for 8,000. Just by making one of my opponent's monsters attack 0 and then attacking that monster with lightning for 5,000 on the monster and then attack for 3,000 direct, which is really nice. But you play this because you want to be able to lightning twice, and this is also another stick chair combo, which you inevitably, if you're too low on life points, you can banish your opponent's entire field, which is really nice. So he has a nifty effect that comes up ever so often. And then we're playing the Satellar package, which is, or Constellar package, which is Ptolemy, M7, Diamond, and Deltaros. This is for Infernoids, Lightsworns, and other decks that mill a lot. And he also negates Dark. So if you're in that matchup where you're playing Burning Abyss, you can basically lock Burning Abyss out from milling with Dante and from activating any of their Dark Monster effects. So he's really, really great in complement next to Herald and a Barrier Statue. This is like inevitably, Burning Abyss cannot do anything whatsoever. So it's really nice. And this is the best monster to go into with your stick chair. Ouroboros is the only one that's worthy of summoning going first. So you really have to play him because he matches your opponent to be able to have less cards than you. So you'll inevitably win that game because you have more fairies than they have cards in their hand. I take in my Thunderspark Dragon because I wanted a better going second rank 4 with my stick chair. Deltaros is cool, but if there's an established board, you can go into this, use Scepter, pop a card, and then blow up their field after that. Then we play Cheer Girl because she's the new pom-pom girl. I really like her to be able to extend my plays and dump my Barrier Statue in the graveyard and use Ritual Sanctuary to special summon a Barrier Statue again and then turn everything back off. It's really nice. And another thing is she turns Barrier Statue off because you can only summon lights under him. So you overlay him, put her under him, and then you can make like, you know, your board or whatever you're trying to do, and then summon Barrier Statue again onto your main monster zone off of Ritual Sanctuary. Baguska, because the deck spams rank 4s pretty consistently, and he's arguably the best right now. Why not? If you don't have Herald, you can just make Baguska. And then you have Castell, Diamond Direwolf, Tornado Dragon, and Dweller. Dweller is the rank 4 that I go into the most often for the Draco matchup, because I really do lose those traps, and this is a way to mitigate for that problem. That will sum up the main deck and the extra deck. Keep in mind that I still need to put Soul Charge into my deck, so the correct list would have a Soul Charge in it. Keep in mind, if you're going to net deck me, put a Soul Charge in your list. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells, and be safe. I love y'all, and I'm out.